Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time, rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. Today, I am excited to introduce you to Mandi Oyster from Southwest Iowa by Skype. She is going to tell us about Dacia Wolf and the Prophecy. If you've ever felt like an outsider anywhere, this is definitely the book to read. Thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I had so much fun reading this book. It was really twisted. It was really evil
I'm
at the
glad to hear you
start.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you look so sweet, but it's such an evil, twisted start. How did you come up with that?
So I read the first 4 Harry Potter books in one weekend, and after I read them, I just kept having a scene replay through my head. It was one of her nightmare scenes, and I had to write it down. And after I wrote it down, I just kept writing. And I'm a pantster, so I didn't know where it was going until it got there.
Oh, that's amazing. So is writing been your career all along, or what do you do?
Uh, Writing has not been my career all along. I did a lot of writing when I was in high school, and then I quit because real life. But I work in printing. I'm a digital pre-press supervisor and do like the graphic art side of it and the computer part of printing. And I also own my own editing business.
Oh, well, that explains why it was so well written. Because this is your first
Well, thank you.
novel, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it was exceptionally well done. Great concept, really good storyline. Keeps you tuned in to the very last page because we have to see if she's going to be okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So, a lot of themes that I saw run through it were the power of friendship. This poor kid really only made really 2 good friends growing up. And then I liked how you twisted in a slow burn love story. Can you tell me about that?
Uh, it's totally different than my actual love story was. I met my husband and fell in love at first sight, but I wanted to show that people can evolve and they can change and they can fall in love with their best friend. They can be happy with whoever they're with. So, uh, and it just seemed inevitable. It wasn't necessarily what I intended when I started, but it just fell into place.
Well, what about the whole fitting in, dealing with bullies?
So you see bullying on the news all the time. You see it everywhere around you. And I wanted to show that you can overcome that there's things that you can do to get beyond being bullied. You don't have to accept what people think of you as who you are. You can still be your own person, and you don't have to like everybody. Not everybody has to like you, but life still goes on.
That's true. What are some tips that you give people that might be in those situations without giving away the story?
Uh, Both my kids were actually bullied in high school, at elementary school, and I just, with my daughter, I told her, these people aren't going to be in your life forever. So just make the best of it, get by, realize that that's not who you are, and keep going. And with my son, I actually told him, I think he needs a friend. I think your bully needs a friend. And so he actually befriended him, and they're still friends to this day.
Wow. They're lucky they had a mom that was intuitive to what was going on.
Well,
It must have been a tough time for
thank you.
them.
Yeah, it is. And my daughter actually ended up being really good friends with one of her grade school bullies too. But no, everybody's going through something, and the bullies are too.
Exactly. And what about remorse? That was also a big theme throughout the book. Not understanding like the things that happen when you're younger and bringing them with you.
Life always is going to give you difficulties, and how you deal with them is how you can move on and how you can become a better, stronger person. And I wanted to show that even when you have all these struggles, you can still be a good person. You can grieve them, and you're going to hold on to them, but you don't have to let them control your life.
I liked how you twisted it with, we really understood where the main character was coming from and her mistrust of people. So when things started to go wrong and she was called into the dean's office, you know, she just expected everything to go wrong. So it was, you know, that whole lesson about learning to accept people as they really are and not looking for something to be wrong all the time.
Yeah. She needed somebody that she could trust. And so I wanted to give that to her in a mother figure type person. I wanted her to have an adult in her life that she could look up to and have a good relationship with.
So what did you read growing up that led you to deliver in the fantasy genre besides Harry Potter?
So I when I was a teenager, I used to read a lot of love stories. I also read a lot of fantasy. I've always liked The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and all that. But the reason that I like the fantasy genre is because I like that the problems aren't real life problems, but they can help you overcome real life problems. You know, I don't always want to see all the problems that we have in real life when I'm reading a book. So I like having a make believe adversary.
I thought it was great the way that the adversaries all developed too. It wasn't all of a sudden there was like, you know, that subtle dislike that just grew.
I wasn't sure how to make that come into play because a lot of people look at it and they're like, well, you don't just automatically dislike somebody like that. But with Cassandra and Bryce and Alvin and Vanessa, they were actually being controlled by the demon. So they did not like her right from the beginning. But they had other reasons for not liking her than just besides her being her.
Yeah. How did you decide on the powers to develop for all these characters?
Uh, I wanted something that I wanted to show that she is really powerful and she could use that to get rid of her bullies. She could use it to make her life so much better, but instead she uses it for good. And I wanted a different type of magic than just here you have magic. I wanted it to be something more like a muscle where she has to develop it and she has to strengthen it and everything to become stronger and to become more versatile.
That was a great idea. It really played well into the storyline. And for your
Thank you.
first book, I can't believe, I mean, it's almost 400 pages. How long did it take you to write?
That book actually took me a very long time to write because I wrote it and then I joined a group called Critique Circle.
Mm-hmm.
And on Critique Circle, you can submit one chapter a week to have it looked at, to have people give you their opinions, their ideas, and help you figure out how to make it better. Uh, so one chapter a week, and I think there's about 50 chapters in it. So just going through Critique Circle took a year after I had it written. Uh, I've had other books that I've been able to write in a month, but that one took years to write, from the time that it started till the time that I went through Critique Circle and then edited it and tried to get it the way that I wanted it. And it's changed a lot from the first version, actually.
How many books will be in the series?
That's a good question. I have 8 books in it right now. I am working on the 9th book. One of the books is a prequel. It's basically Dacia Wolf and the Prophecy, written from Cody's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm a pantster, I really have no idea how many books there are, because I could have ended it at book 5, but it was out of character. And I don't like it when authors just end it to end it. So it continued going on because Dacia wouldn't have let everything just lie. So we'll see. I have no idea.
That's amazing. And I like that you also incorporated things like amulets, telekinesis, teleporting, fairies. So do they play a bigger role in the next part of the series as the books go on?
So the ambulance, my mom is an EMT, and she became an EMT when she was 60. And she has been the top responder for the last 10 years in our local community. So that is kind of for her. And there's actually dedication in some of my other books about her and 2 first responders and all that they go through. Each of these characters that are in the books, the telekinesis, the fairies, all that stuff, they grow and evolve throughout the books. The fairies play a part in several other ones, and in book 7, they are the main adversary of that book. At the end, there's dragons in it. Book 2 is all about dragons, and the dragons come back throughout the series. So yeah, they all return.
Oh, that's wonderful. But when do you find time to write? I mean, you work full time, you're a wife, a mom, an editor for other people.
So I carpool to work with my husband. We don't work at the same place, but we work in the same area. So, well, when it's light out, when we're carpooling to work, I can write in my books on the way to work. I can write on them on the way home. I do it over my breaks and my lunch hours. And basically, I work from 6:30 in the morning till 10:30 at night. So I'm busy.
You are
My kids
busy.
are both in college right now, 8 hours away. So I don't have their sporting events to go to and everything like I did a couple of years ago.
Wow. So was that hard when they all left the nest?
Yes. Yeah, it's hard having them 8 hours away, especially when they call and say, "Mom, I need you."
Oh.
But
I can't believe your mom's an EMT at 60, which means she's 70 now, right?
yes,
And she's still an EMT?
yep,
Wow, she must be in good shape.
yes, she is. And she really likes it. She likes helping people. So
Oh, that's nice. That's a tough job.
yeah, it is, and it's volunteer, so no pay. The only reward is helping people.
Good for her. All right. So, oh, the other one of your quirks that you mentioned was collecting cats.
I have 4 cats.
Real ones?
I am. Oh yeah. I have lots of cat type things too, but yeah, I have 4 real cats, and I'm always telling my husband, 5's my favorite number. We should have 5.
And what does he say?
No.
No.
4's enough.
I'll bet. That must be hard to keep track of.
Nah, they're pretty good. They're all sleeping right now, so they're not causing any trouble, which is good.
No, that's great. All right, so the series so far, is it 7 books that are published?
There are 8 published now. I published Cody Hawks and The Chosen One last month, so
You're definitely busy. Were
yeah,
the were the subsequent novels easy to do over the first one?
yeah, they got easier as they went along. Books 1 and 2, I was trying to figure out how to uh, get traditionally published, and I thought, well, if I write book 2, then it'll show that I'm not a one-hit wonder or whatever. Uh, and then I thought, well, I'll go ahead and write book 3 because trilogies were big at the time, and I thought maybe that would help me get a traditional publisher. And then after I wrote book 4, or right when I was starting to write book 4, I found a group called 20 Books to 50K,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big group for independent authors. And I realized that I could go ahead and independently publish. So once I did that, the books that I've written after, from book 4 on, have taken less than a year to write, publish, and everything. Cody Hawks and The Chosen One, I wrote in December, I edited in January, and then I published. So it took a month to write and a month to edit.
Wow. So you edit your own work? You don't have someone else?
Yes.
Really?
No,
That it must be
no.
hard.
It's a learning curve. Um, if I just look at my words and don't read them out loud, then I miss a lot of things. But I've learned that if I read it out loud, set it aside for a little bit of time, read it out loud, then I catch most of the mistakes. I also had a beta reader on Cody Hawks and The Chosen One, so he read, she read it and caught a couple of things that I missed. But overall, I think they're pretty clean.
Yeah, it is really clean. That's why when I found that you were a first time author on this one, I was really surprised. So I can only imagine the rest of the series is that much more concise and compact too. It's a tight
Yeah, and
weave story. There is no hidden, no like, there's nothing unresolved by the time you get to the end.
well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Um, I really found my voice in book 3.
Hmm.
So from book 3 on, they've gotten super easy to write. But I think being an inexperienced author, it just takes a while to get there.
Were you surprised by the feedback that you got?
Uh, I was very scared to put it out there because it's your baby and you don't want anybody to tell you that your baby's ugly. You just don't want to hear that. And so a lot of my reviews have been really positive. I think I have an average of like 4.5 stars on it. So I've been really pleasantly surprised by people liking it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a 5-star review as far as having a great story that runs really well. There's no, you know, loose ends. It's well written, it's well laid out.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was
That makes me
really,
feel good.
it was beautiful. It was a great story. It was just so funny that the beginning was like, I was like horrifying. I'm like, oh my God, where is she going with this? And then I couldn't put it down because I had to keep making sure that she was going to be okay eventually.
Yeah, she's okay. She's got a lot to deal with in life, but she's okay.
Yeah, I think she's going to control it at some point, right?
Yeah, she learns she learns a lot, throughout the series and everything. So I just need to figure out when it ends.
What about the roommate? I like that setup with her roommate. Complete different personality, always bubbly.
So I'm a totally different person from my best friends, and I always feel like, maybe I'm like, why do you guys like me? I don't really act like anything like you. So I'm kind of like Dacia. I'm just down to earth, and my friends are very different. And so it kind of came from that to show that, you don't have to always be the same as everybody that you're with. And, we all like different things. I like to go camping in the mountains where we have to use outhouses, unfortunately. And, I like sleeping in tents, and they like hotels, and we're not, but it's good.
Definitely. So, when you were bringing up your kids, did you bring them on a lot of camping trips?
Yes, I did. And my daughter is actually uh, going to college to be a park ranger. Uh, so, so they really like them. They enjoy going to the mountains and going hiking and camping and having a campfire at night, cooking over the fires. Yeah, my daughter's actually going to be a crew leader for Wyoming Conservation Corps this summer and camp for 10 days and build trails and all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, is it one of the kids' colleges that you modeled the college after in this book for world building?
Actually, when I started writing that, my kids were only 3 and 1.
Oh, wow.
Um, so I didn't model it after that, but a lot of the places are from near where my kids go to college. And I actually contacted that college about what kind of classes they would need to graduate and stuff like that. So they gave me the information. So it's all based on reality, but yeah, that college isn't in that place. Uh,
Well, for me, it seemed like a real college and campus because you were so good at the layout. Like, I
I
didn't.
actually designed a little map for it so that I would never forget where things are. But
Oh, really?
it's not that great of a looking map, so I didn't put it in the book.
That's okay. I mean, it was amazing that, just everything was in order, nothing skipped. Like sometimes, I don't know if it's not a real place that they're modeling after, you feel like, oh, that wasn't there. And you go back and check. But throughout the book, everything flowed really well. They were in the right places, the amount of time it took to get to different places, different parts of campus. It was really well done.
Yeah, I have basically a little Bible of all the characters' traits and all where the places are. And so if I ever forget, I can go back and look and say, oh, wait, he did have blue eyes. Oh, wait, and figure everything out. So yeah, having the map drawn up helps me figure out everything.
Oh, that's a great idea. So you keep little books on the characters?
It's basically at the end of the notebook that I keep. I just have a couple of sheets with everything on it and the details. And as characters are added, I add them to it. And as details are added, I add those.
Oh, that's a great idea. So, what advice would you give up and coming writers? Is there any place they should start?
I would say sit down and write because you can always edit it. You can always fix it. You can always completely change it if you need to, but you have to write it.
That's a good advice. What about groups? Did you find the groups were helpful that you went to online?
The 20 books to 50K really helps me a lot. It still does. Um, I have found a lot of writers groups where uh, you can get people's opinions. You can submit chapters for reviews, and they're all very beneficial, especially when you're first starting out and you need to figure out how how to write it better. Um, because writing's like anything else. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. The more you do it, the better at it you get. So you got to start.
That's true. And I think the misconception is that it would be more competitive to work with other authors when you're all offering a different story.
Everybody's book is different. Everybody has a completely different story to tell, and there are readers out there. Some of them read a book a day, so you're not competing with them. You're just helping each other.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing so much about how you created this exceptional adventure.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It was a
It's been great
pleasure.
talking to you.
You too. Thank you. And until next time, keep asking questions. But Dacia Wolf and the Prophecy is definitely a book that you can sink your teeth into.